Welcome to Miles and Dash's POW 13. Today's POW is the mountain problem. Two hikers, Manny and Alicia, begin to climb up at 8 a.m. up Mount Hunt. They eat breakfast at the 500-foot rest stop and enjoy the view for half an hour, beginning at 9 a.m. They continue up the trail, and their pace has increased because they now have had breakfast and are fully awake. At 10:15 a.m., they stop for a 15-minute break at the 1,000-foot rest stop and continue up the trail. This time, their pace has slowed since they've been hiking for close to 2 hours. At noon, they reach the 1,500-foot level and stop for an hour lunch break. It has become hot and humid, and their pace the remainder of the afternoon is pretty lethargic. At 5 p.m., they finally reach the summit at 2,800 feet. They set up their campsite, make supper, and enjoy the wonderful view. The next morning, they pack everything up and start hiking back down the mountain on a different trail. They begin at 8 a.m., the same time that they started the day before. It is bright and sunny day, and they enjoy a beautiful view as they descend down the mountain at a steady rate, stopping only once at lunchtime for an hour. Because the path they return on is longer than the path they hiked up on, they find, to their surprise, that they arrived at the original starting point at the base of Mount Hunt at the same time that they arrived at the summit of the day before, even though they did not stop as often on the way down. Now, the heated discussion begins. Alicia feels that sometime during the 2 days they must have been at the same height and exactly at the same time of day. Manny is adamant with the opposite opinion, that they were never at the same height at the same time during the 2 days. Who is correct? Defend your choice in as many different ways as you can. Can this problem be modeled using equations? If so, write the equations. If not, explain your reasoning in words. Dash will be taking this POW for now.
So the way we were able to figure this out is, so we know he starts at 8 and then goes up and takes these different paths, as Miles said, reaches the top, and the next day he goes back down. They go back down and reach there at the same time that
They started.
At the same time they started, same place they started. So what you have to figure out...
Same time they ended,
yeah,
same place they started. Same
yes.
time they ended the day before, yeah, you get it.
Yeah. So the way we were able to do this is to have a steady path down, except there, because it was steady all the way, that's all we know. Except there was a 1 hour lunch break.
At 12.
At 12 o'clock. So we had a bit of trouble figuring this out at first, but then I came up with a solution where, because we know it's a steady pace, but there's a 1 hour lunch break, at noon, we were able to figure out that you could find the rate for it being 1 hour earlier because there's a 1 hour lunch break. And once we found that rate, we could just stick with that rate, and then at the time of noon, so have that rate, and then at the time of noon, have it be at 1 hour, and then the same pace down. And there you have it.
They were on the mountain. They started and stopped at the same time. So in the beginning, they started at the same time they stopped in the end. On the 2 different days, I'm saying. So we know that Alicia feels that during the 2 days they were at the same place and time, at the same time and place. That made no sense. So, we know that they had lunch sometime during the day. We can assume that lunch was at 12, but we had some consultations with our friends, and even if lunch was at any time, obviously they had to cross. at the same place and time, because that makes sense. And I'm losing my train. So in conclusion, even though we don't have an exact answer as to what time they met, because we don't actually know when lunch is, logically, Alicia would be correct, because from the start to the end and the start to the end, it's in the same time frame, so they had to cross unless the mountain was parallel, which is not possible.